A shin show.
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 Hello, America! Our legal fees from the American Ziffs debacle are now almost paid off, allowing us to resume our massive advertising budget on a shin show. COVID did in American Ziffs, but we're disease-free here at the southernmost restaurant in the world, and we're ready to ship out our freshly slain kiwi juice and delicious koala tendies straight to your door. What's that, you say? You want more variety? No problems. New Zealand has 51 varieties of native fresh fish, and we fillet, fry, and flambe them all. So don't wait another minute to order your authentic taste of Australia's little sister. Head over to www.zips.co.nz. Place your order, we'll throw it in the chili bin, and in just 3 to 7 days, DHL will have it freshly smashed and on your doorstep. Zips. Now that's choice.
Welcome to A Shin Show. I'm your host, Pete Shin, and we've got a full house today. Besides me, goddamn, I can't even speak now.
You know what? How about I do the intro? Welcome to A Shin Show. I'm Nick Shin. I'm the host today. With us, we got Dad, we got Elsie, we got a very special guest, Uncle Guy, we got Sara, we got Noah. Welcome. Let's get the show on the road.
Okay, great. Hey, Sara, Nick's a little overmodulated. I can tell that.
Let's readjust everything for another 45 minutes, shall we?
That's a great idea, and that's the kind of quality input that we can expect from Uncle Guy, whom we're delighted to have join us. Now, Guy, you had an idea this week, and I think we should get right to it. Rather than talking about anyone's personal news, we should just get right to our most embarrassing moments. Why don't you start, unless you want me to?
Well, my most embarrassing moment is so embarrassing that the names have to be changed to protect the innocent.
Oh, that's the best kind of story.
I couldn't agree more.
Well, Sara just had an embarrassing moment right now as we were saying this. She's trying to get this fucking screen protector, the pop screen on, and it assaulted her. It hit her in the face, and I saw the whole fucking thing.
That's exactly right.
That's not an embarrassing moment. Trust me.
All right.
Uncle Guy, I want to hear yours.
All right, well, I guess I could start. It was a balmy Colorado evening. I was about 20 years old. I was to meet a lady friend at the softball field for a sure thing.
The best kind of thing, by the way.
The only kind of thing.
In the baseball field?
At the baseball field, she was taking her friends to play softball, and she was going to meet me. And I had never met her. It was a clandestine rendezvous. So I took it upon myself to drink a 12-pack of Miller Lite and a pint of schnapps and smoke a couple of joints to properly socially lubricate the situation.
Smart.
Right.
Just smart.
Well, I showed up, pretty much falling down drunk, okay? But anyway, her friends got situated on the softball field, and we climbed into the backseat of her car. So I was a strapping young lad, her a comely young lass, long golden locks down to her ample bosoms, and we commenced to fooling around in the back of the car. So I'm handsy as I am. I one hand unsnap her bra, I get her shirt off. Things are going smashingly. We're at the ballpark. I'm thinking, I'm seconds away from a home run here. I'm first base, second base, rounding fucking third, okay? This is going to be a grand fucking slam is what it's going to be, okay?
So it seems.
So I've got my shirt off. I'm about to lower my pants and underwear when I hear a distant rumble. I think that it's thunder, but it's not.
Oh, no.
Okay? It's coming from deep within my own bowels. My bowels were angry that day, my friend.
Oh, I should say so.
Here I am. I'm halfway, pretty well snockered, right? I'm on top of this girl, hands and knees on top of this girl in the backseat of Mercury Cougar when I can no longer hold it. Okay, so there's an explosion. Okay, and where did this explosion come from? I'm pretty drunk. Well, it takes me a second to figure out that it came from between my legs. Okay. So I'm thinking, okay, I can salvage this. Okay.
Bold of you.
Yeah.
This is merely a fart. When I feel something wet and squishy and oozing. Like a skunk, I've sprayed my underwear through my pants and onto the back passenger side door of the vehicle.
Well, you were spooked.
The acrid stench of excrement filled the car so fast that our eyes began to water. And she fumbled out of the car. And so
Impressive from underneath you.
Probably.
I'm instantly, okay, so my face is flush and red, and I'm instantly sobered. My purple helmeted soldier of love, just formally standing at attention, is now killed in action. Right? And I'm completely sobered. This incident has completely sobered me. So it's fairly embarrassing to this point. Okay?
Oh,
But wait,
there's more.
Wait, there's more. Okay, so I got dropped off at the softball field, and she was my ride home. Well, the game had basically just started, so I had to stand there in my shit pants with the acrid, this horrible stench lingering on the stale, warm summer air while they played the whole softball game. Right?
Did it end up just running down your leg at this point?
Oh, it was all over the back of my pants. There was a big yellow emulsion of bile and excrement, all over the back of my, in the car and on the back of my pants. And so I had tied my shirt around my waist, right? Well,
Because that'll hide it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Nobody will know now. I got the shirt tied around my waist. This shit stain, it's so bad it's actually bleeding through my shirt.
Oh my God.
So now I'm standing there like an idiot, sober as a fucking judge, watching the softball game with the young lady that moments ago I was destined for glory, and now I'm humiliated beyond belief. So anyway, I watched the game with her, and then, so it's time for her to drop me off. But lo and behold, she had given most of the softball team a ride to the game. So what I get to do, okay, I get in. So I get in. I have to sit in the shirt spot, obviously.
obviously.
I'm the one who started.
Yeah.
There's some of it on the window. There's some of oh my God. So I roll down the window, and the shit smears down the window. Get a little fresh air, So anyway, I'm like, okay, this ain't working. So anyway, we're riding home. We get home, and I get out of the car, and I go inside, drunk, and there's a bunch of my buddies there. And so I tell them the story, and they're fucking howling on the ground with laughter. From that point forth, it was known as the shart, heard around the world.
Smelled around the world, too.
So I think it's over. This is over. I'm done.
This was your first it's over clue.
But it gets better.
Wow.
I ended up getting a job at the same place the girl worked, and I worked there for 5 years. And I had to see her every day, like fucking Edmond Dantes in the Chateau d'If. I was fucking tortured and humiliated for 5 years.
But you kept the job, so, really, that's on you, you little
I did
masochist.
keep the job, but it was, that wasn't my most embarrassing moment, but it was a good one.
Yeah, I'll say. Although I have to admit, Guy, I remember the story a little differently. I remember it as after you had shit your pants and she said, "Oh my God," you said, "Don't worry, baby, we can still work it out."
I probably did say that. Like I said, I thought I was still going for the glory, but she wasn't having none of it.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Shocking.
That's how yeast infections can occur.
Like I said, that's not my most embarrassing moment. That's kind of a medium one, but
That's just on the
one.
greatest hits album.
It's up there, but there's worse.
Oh,
Who's
for
next?
Sure. Who's next? Well, who could top it?
I do
Oh, I
have
can
kind of
top
a
it.
shit-related story.
Nick, you have many shit-related stories. Let's hear it.
Okay, well, one time I wasn't like living with this girl, but I was staying at her house almost every night. And she worked in the morning, and just this particular day, she worked in the morning. I was still asleep. She left. I was in her apartment, and I woke up, and I must have been some sort of fucked up the night before, because I don't recall going to sleep naked in her bed, but I woke up naked in her bed. And I'm like, sometimes you wake up in the morning, you got that good morning fart. Well,
Oh, no.
Well, it was a little bit more than a fart this time. That's what woke me up out of my slumber. And I look into her pristine white sheets and white blankets, And just
Oh, Jesus.
not a large amount, but not a small amount of diarrhea was now just in her shit, in her blankets. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I got to clean this up before she comes home. So I do a mad dash, get all her shit. Well, first I take one of those sponges that's on like a handle, you know what I'm talking about? That you fill the handle up with soap and it comes out of there. I try to scrub it by hand, you know, because I'm in a panic. I'm naked. I shit myself.
Is she there with you?
No, she had left to go to work. She doesn't know any of this.
I would have just burned the sheets, I'm pretty
And
sure.
she still doesn't know to this day. But so I took and I'm like, this ain't working. So I took the fucking everything to my house, which at the time had a washer and dryer. So I wash it and dry it, and you pretty much can't tell. You have to be looking for it. And so I'm like, it's all like a Mission Impossible thing. I'm sweating and shit. I don't know when she's going to come home.
You're in danger of shitting your pants again.
Yeah. I'm putting her sheets and her blankets back on, and she comes home. She doesn't say anything. Later that night, we're on the couch watching TV, and I just sort of offhandedly ask her, like, hey, just what if? Just a funny little scenario, hypothetical. What if I shit your bed? She said, I would break up with you. And I was like, well, we don't have to worry about that now, do we? And she never fucking knew.
Until now, because she's a regular listener of this podcast.
Oh, I very, very much doubt that. We did not leave on good terms.
That's all the more reason to listen to this podcast.
Yeah, definitely. I have a couple other ones too, but that's the shit-related one.
That's a good one. I like it. Well done.
The other ones are involving assaulting old people on accident.
Oh, yeah.
It was accidental, though. I promise you that.
Yeah, I have a good one related to that, which is that I was getting on an airplane one time. I was in a big rush. I was the last person on the plane. I'm wearing a trench coat because it's winter and it's Omaha. I get on the plane, and of course, I don't want to sit on this long flight to wherever it is with this trench coat on. So I hurry up and I take off my trench coat. I rip it off and I rip it up in a little ball. And I look over and I have hit this little old lady in the face with the belt buckle of this trench coat.
Jesus.
I mean, right in the fucking face, man. And she's like, ow! And she gives me this pitiful look. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. And she just sat, and I'm sitting next to her, not right next to her, but across the aisle from her. And she glares at me the entire 2.5-hour flight to wherever it is I was going.
You said if you don't want to catch another fucking belt buckle to the face, old lady, I'd suggest looking out the window, all right?
I thought about that, but that seemed even worse.
I'm disappointed I'm just now hearing this story.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I know a pretty embarrassing one for Pete.
For me?
Well, I don't know how embarrassing it was, but I remember one time when you zipped your dick up in the zipper.
Oh, yeah, I did do that. Well, I've done that at least once.
I've done that a time or
That
two.
seems like something that would be pretty common as a dude.
It's not that common, in fact.
It's not that common, but it happens if you're not on your toes. You got to stay frosty when you're handling your equipment. You know what I mean?
You got to hold that shit like a cigar, goddammit.
Yeah. Or else it will get cut like a cigar.
Oh, shit.
All right. Well, that's a couple of incidents. We haven't heard from Noah or the ladies.
I mean, my shit's way more innocent than that. So I do have an embarrassing moment. It happened to me when I was like 8 or 9, and it sticks with me to this day. We were driving. It was a weekend that you had picked us up, and you still lived in Omaha. So we were driving.
So we were driving.
Not that that's where I live now.
Nor that it's relevant. But then
Nor
anyway.
did you ever live there.
Right. Not that I was there at that time either. But I had broken my glasses earlier in the week. And so I had my glasses sitting on my face because I was blind without them. But one of the arms was missing. And so I was holding them up with one hand. And we were driving. I was in the front seat. And we were passing this child abducting minivan.
Yes.
And the guy driving it looks at me. And I look up at him and I flash him a peace sign. And the guy just fucking starts rolling. And like he points at me, obviously laughing. And he like holds his stomach. And is just laughing. And I have never been so ashamed in my entire 9-year-old life.
Did your glasses fall off your face when you threw them the peace signs?
They did go askew. And so I just kind of slunk down into the seat and pretended like I had never existed and would cease to exist and never would exist again.
I
But I
see.
still remember that.
I don't even see how that was considered embarrassing.
Yeah.
That's just a grown-ass man being
One time
an
I was
asshole.
at a party and I dropped some acid and I was all fucked up on this acid and I opened the fridge and I pulled out the onion drawer and I was taking a shit in the onion drawer. The lady at the party
Who's being
came
the
up.
asshole now?
Yeah, am I the asshole? Yeah, I was at that time. Anyway, the lady comes me up and I'm all, tripping balls and she's shaking me and I never forget what she said. She said, "You're shitting in my onion drawer." That's an embarrassing story, okay? Breaking your glasses is not embarrassing as far as I'm concerned.
Or flashing a driver the peace sign. I agree. That doesn't really quite qualify. Although you did remind me, Guy, of a story in which I was 21 years old, and I was over at a buddy's house, and we were drinking and whooping it up, and we got pretty drunk, and so I slept on the couch. And I got up in the middle of the night, not really knowing where I was at. So I wandered out in the kitchen and whipped it out and began peeing on a kitchen chair. And I swear to God, I thought I was in a bathroom. But the buddy's wife flipped on the kitchen as I was finishing up and said, "Pete, God damn it, why are you pissing on my kitchen chair?" And I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I guess I'll clean it up." And I did. But yeah, that was embarrassing.
I guess the other embarrassing story I have is when I was staying at grandmother's house, I was probably 10 or so. I'd lived there for a while, and I would shower in the upstairs bathroom and then throw my towel in the upstairs laundry chute and then run naked through the house to my bedroom, which was in the basement. And so one day I had taken my shower and I threw the towel in the laundry chute and I ran my happy naked little ass downstairs. But as I hit the bottom of the stairs, I realized Grandma has company over. Sure, it's just my Uncle Brian and a couple of his buddies, but do I know who they are? No. And so I freeze and I look at him and he looks at me and I'm just like, bye. And I booked it to my room on the other end of the basement. So that's probably the second most embarrassing moment in my life.
Oh, geez, dude, I got one way better than that. No, I was 19. I was working at Olive Garden. I was a server. I was serving this guy. This old man had to be like 70, but he was pretty big. And he had like a walker, and he needed help getting up out of his seat. It was just him by himself. If I recall, I think this is the same guy who told me he paid for all of his college in one summer as a lifeguard. So that's
Sounds
how
like a
fucking
charmer.
old he was. Yeah. But he was like, "Can you help me up, Sonny? It's so hard for me to get out of this chair." And I was like, "Of course I can help you up, dude. I'm strong as fuck." So I grab him by his hand, and then I go to lift him up, but he's way fucking heavier than I thought. And then he just kind of goes back down and pulls me with him. And I fall on top of this old man, tip the fucking table over, salads flying everywhere, dude. His fucking walker is in pieces. And I'm just on top of him. He's like, and I'm like, I have nothing for that. I have no fucking excuse. I was just weak. And, he did not tip. That was very embarrassing. Everyone came out of the kitchen and was like, "Hey, what are you doing on top of that old man?" Wouldn't you like to know? Yeah, wouldn't you like to know?
Trying to get the world's biggest tip, but
Yeah.
I'm really shocked there was no tip involved in that story.
Yeah, I should have just got a job as a lifeguard like he did.
Yeah, probably so.
And then one more. Dad said I never told this story, but one time there was an old woman at one of my tables. It's always old people. I don't fucking know why. But I was pretty good at spinning drink trays on my finger. I was like a fucking Harlem Globetrotter, just sauntering up to this old woman as she was eating. And I was saying, "Hey," what I wanted to do was say, "Hey, how's everything tasting?" But what happened was I said, "Hey," and at that moment, there was just a small bead of moisture on the bottom of the drink tray that I was spinning on my finger like a Harlem Globetrotter. And my finger hit the bead of moisture, and the tray flew off my finger like a Beyblade, like a pog. It just shot straight off my finger into the old woman's teeth. So I just walked up and said, "Hey," and it looked like I just threw that fucking tray right into her mouth. And she was not fucking happy. Not at all. She had my manager come out there. Luckily, my manager knows that I wouldn't do that on purpose, so I didn't get fired or anything. But she also did not tip.
No tip, huh? Wow, this is really an outrage that these folks didn't tip you, Nick.
I know. It was an honest assault. You know what I mean? An accidental assault.
Yeah, these things happen. Tip your server.
Manslaughter at that point.
Almost. I'm telling you, if I
Manslaughter.
would have been spinning that thing 1 mile an hour faster, it would have sawed her head clean fucking in half. It was fast, dude, and it looked bad.
Yeah, well, that's pretty bad, but I know Elsie has a much more grotesque story to tell.
Let's hear it.
I'm not much of a raconteur, and my stories might not be that good, even if I came up with a way to explain it and build up to them. So I'm just going to leave 3 nuggets. One is shitting the bed during sex, getting pregnant the night I lost my virginity, and flashing the entire bar at this place in Fort Worth without having any idea about it till I see everybody staring at me because my dress was unzipped in the back.
Yeah.
Those are pretty big ones, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Admirable. You get an admirable mention on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, thanks. Have you ever shit? Well, you have shit the bed during sex. You just weren't in a bed.
I'm shit in the refrigerator.
You'll
Shit
shit
in
anywhere.
places that will leave you confused for the rest of your life.
I just
It was really difficult shitting in the freezer. I get my ass up there. It was cold.
Did you think it was a high toilet
There
or
was
what?
no handholds, you know. You really had to want it.
Oh man.
I'm kidding. One time I did give Chris an upper decker, though.
What's an upper decker?
An upper decker is where you shit in the tank.
Gross.
You guys never
Which
did that when
tank?
you were kids? You
Toilet
didn't
tank.
ice cube tray and give them an upper decker when you hated somebody?
I never heard of that.
You never did an upper decker?
I've never heard of that until now.
You
He's never
pissed
hated
anybody's
anyone
ice
enough.
cube trays. What kind of people are you? You're not my family.
Oh
You
yes,
haven't
we
lived
are.
until you've administered upper deckers.
Right.
Well, on that note, Noah, I believe you are the only one who has not told us your embarrassing story.
Oh man, they might be a bit too sexual.
That's
The amount
How,
of-
how much more can it be than shitting?
It is shit based. I mean, the amount of times I've had shit on my junk is pretty. It's literally uncountable.
Well, yeah, because you have sex with men, but that doesn't necessarily mean be embarrassed about
But
it.
it's the women that do it, not the guys.
Well, that's
guys-
because
the guys know about it.
No, yeah, exactly. Women have to be schooled on these things first before you just stick your dick in them, okay?
Well, I didn't do that. No, okay. No, you know what? I had a chick.
Oh, I see. It was the wrong.
She just shoved it up there, man. Okay, I didn't do anything. All right, I was just laying there, and she was just like, "Let's try this." I was like, "What?" And then she just went.
You
for
were
it.
just a young, innocent man, and she deflowered you.
With her butthole.
That's
Yeah.
the shit I'm talking about. All right, I gotta go.
Good to talk to you, Uncle Guy.
Love you, Guy.
Love ya. See you guys.
Well, that was literally a guest appearance by Guy.
I have a more innocent, embarrassing story.
Okay, go
Doesn't
ahead.
involve feces or penises or assholes or nothing like that, or
Yeah.
assaulting the elderly.
Yeah,
Would you like to hear it?
Give us a
Alright.
palate cleanser.
No,
begging
yeah.
you. We're
Yeah, all
begging
right, all
you.
right. So one time it was like some kind of field trip for second or third grade. You know how like on field trips they have some of the parents come with to be chaperones to watch all the little bastards.
Yes, of course.
Well, my mom was one of those people, right? So we're in a museum and someone's showing the class some shit. My mom's standing behind me and I'm young. I grab her hand because it's, at my shoulder height. I grab her hand and I'm rubbing my face on it and like just holding her hand and playing with
Aw.
her fingers.
It wasn't
And
your
then, like,
mom, was it?
I notice that there's like a lot of rings on this hand. Okay? And I look and it's not my fucking mom. I had been doing this for like 5 minutes. Not
was
my mom.
it?
So I don't know. It was just some bitch who was just letting this happen. Okay?
That's weird.
Yeah, it was weird. So I look up, I start crying, and I run away to the bathroom. And then my actual mom has to come find me.
Now, on that note, kind of a different deal, but also not a feces or sex-related story. But there was a young lady who was a little, chubby in the tummy. And she was kind of skinny everywhere else. And I said, hey, good to see you. How far along are you? She goes, what do you mean? I said, well, how far along are you? She goes, I'm not pregnant. I said, oh.
And then the
Hey.
Curb Your Enthusiasm music played.
I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly. It was not
To
good.
that end, I've been asked if I was pregnant when I'm just fat.
Never by me.
Why do you have to make it about you, man?
Never by me, even though I almost did a few times. Way to tell on yourself, dude.
Not true. I'm sorry to hear
Uh-huh.
that. Here's the point. I'm glad that you're taking better care of your health, and you've never looked better.
Thanks. You can't see me right now, but
Nice
thank you.
attempt at a save.
Nice attempt at a save. I think I saved it pretty well, thank you.
Ugh.
Okay. Yeah, you judging your own saving attempts says everything.
Classic.
Well, first he had to make it about himself, then he had to redeem himself. You see how this goes.
Yeah, I do.
He is his own judge, jury, and executioner.
Which is funny because if we hadn't skipped personal news, my personal news was going to be your father's constant need for validation.
Well, perhaps we can get to that after this.
We here at A Shin Show know there are times in your life when you would either like to do something adventurous but are intimidated, or have a life requirement you would like to avoid. For all those challenging times in your life when you just don't feel quite like you have what it takes to hang in there, feel free to call in your ass stand-in. Why, just this week, we heard a story of a poor, unfortunate soul who had to listen to their life partners crying and carrying on for hours. Sounds awful, doesn't it? If only he had thought to call his ass stand-in, he could have been out golfing, drinking with the boys, or even shoving bamboo right up his fingernails. Literally anything better than dealing with emotional bullshit. Am I right? Ass stand-ins don't even have to be just for yourself. When you'd like to go skydiving but your family is chicken shit, call a Shin Show stand-in to replace your spouse, child, or sibling for an hour, a day, or even a week. Ass stand-ins cannot be purchased for longer than 1 week increments, as they probably can't tolerate your dumpster fire of a life for any longer than that. So what are you waiting for? Improve your life by not participating in it, or replacing others in it now.
A Shin Show stand-ins may or may not actually be any more pleasant to deal with than the individual they are standing in for. A Shin Show stand-ins may not be held liable for emotional abuse, neglect, indifference, injury, perjury, theft, or death. Patrons assume all legal responsibilities and cost of all actions taken by their stand-in. A Shin Show stand-in may be an actual person or, in fact, much like Nick's girlfriend, a 200-pound blow-up doll. And we're back. All right, Elsie, better lay it on me.
No, that's it.
What do you mean that's it?
You have a constant need for validation.
Yeah, she pretty much
It
just
was
said
pretty
it.
self-evident, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I thought there was a particular situation that brought it up rather than just my constant need
But
for
see, it's
validation.
constant, so
Oh, I see.
I didn't know I was supposed to single one out.
Oh, I
Whatever
thought there might be an
situation.
illustrative example, but apparently not. Okay. Really, that's about all we've got time for this week. So, good to talk to you, kids.
Nick,
Noah?
Noah, get with it.
Oh,
For the
yeah,
love
sorry,
of
look.
fuck's sake, I love you, okay? And you know what? I love you 50 times, so I don't have to keep saying it at the end of every show.
Yes, you do.
No, just bye would be okay. Like bye. That'd be fine. See you, bye.
Or fuck you, I'm out.
How about the Amo Adios?
Yeah, sure, that works.
I didn't even know what you said. Is it some foreign language?
Yes.
Oh my God.
No.
Take a trip to
How
Ecuador.
about Vaya con Dios?
All right, bye.
A Shin Show is a production of Shinfluence. It features the voices and opinions of the Shin family, which are entirely and exclusively their own. Join us each week on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks as always to our regular listeners. We love to hear from you, so if you have a question, comment, recommendation, or idea you would like to submit to a Shin Show, please email us at ashinshow@gmail.com, and we will be happy to ignore it, belittle you publicly, or steal your ideas if you actually have a good one. And don't forget, if it ain't ass, it's shit.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.